Today's video is going to focus primarily on the Westbound Conrail train and its work at the Interchange Yard. Towards the end of the video, we will see the arrival of the Southbound Quebec and New England train as well. From our switch list, we can see that the Conrail train has 13 cars to set off. One of them, the southern boxcar, is slightly mismarshaled, out of a total train length of 31 cars. Most of these cars are at the head end of the train. This clip, I'm sure, will be a treat for all you Conrail fans. It is the East Staging Yard representing Boston. There are 4 tracks, and each track can hold more than 40 cars, plus locomotives and caboose. Today's train is departing from track 4 and is powered by a pair of SD60s and an SD40-2. The staging yard is arranged in a loop design, which allows arriving eastbound trains to be reoriented, pointing westbound for the next operating session. And here we see an example of that. This is the eastbound train from our last video arriving into staging, and you'll notice that it is on track 4, which is the track that was just vacated by the departing westbound. It will make its way around the loop and come back facing westbound. These trains are typically long enough that they will always pass their caboose on the way in. With only one westbound train scheduled to arrive onto the layout in each operating session and 4 staging tracks, these trains take their turn. So this consist and set of cars will have to wait till the 4th operating session following before they're back in action on the layout. Through the magic of video editing, our westbound Conrail train meets the eastbound, still entering the east portal. It's a tough climb on the 2.2% grade of the visible portion of the East Helix. It's an engineer's nightmare having to stop his train on a steep grade only because of a faulty crossing signal. Somebody forgot to plug it in. Because all of our work today is at the head end of our train, we've been lined into the yard through the east interlocking. Fortunately, our caboose has cleared the crossing circuit, so we won't have to listen to the bells anymore. We've pulled the pin on the southern boxcar that was mismarshalled, and we're pulling ahead to set it over into the yard. Because of that mismarshaled car, we've triggered the signal crossing at the west interlocking, but that will be reset momentarily. Once we get these three cars back on the westbound train, we can get on with the business of making the rest of our set-offs. Fingers crossed we have enough room to shove these cars to clear without having our caboose foul the crossing circuit. Our total set-off today is 13 cars, so we're going to have to spread it over 2 tracks. With our set-offs complete, we'll now reach into the departure track where our 13 car pickup is waiting for us. Just a few more feet to clear the point of switch. That'll do. We'll just give it a little stretch here, make sure the pins drop, then do our brake test, and then we'll be on our way. Looks like we were very lucky. We really didn't have a lot of room left before fouling that crossing signal again. approaching the west interlocking limits where we will rejoin the westbound Conrail main. If you look directly above the locomotives, you can just make out the tail end of the train clearing the east interlocking. I am able to stand up inside the west helix and east staging yard area. Everything is a minimum 30-inch radius, so the track curvatures aren't as bad as they look in this video. You can see that the helix itself is a 2-turn helix, and there's still plenty of clearance above the staging yard. Our train is long enough to wrap around itself completely on its way to the west staging yard. Here we see our westbound train at the entrance to the west staging yard, which is located beneath the Interchange Yard. Our train is routed to track 4, but we're going to have to slow down here and eventually stop because we have yet to clear track 4, which has the southbound Quebec and New England train still sitting on it. And here you can just about make out the red cupola of the Quebec and New England caboose just above the Hercules plastics car, and our train just behind it down the track with the headlight on, waiting to arrive onto the track. Today's southbound Quebec and New England train is powered by a quartet of GP38s led by number 77. These first generation Atlas locomotives have a very characteristic hum or whine to them, especially when you're very close to them with the camera or microphone. Here we see the Quebec and New England southbound train making its way out of staging, climbing a 2% grade to get to the lower level continuous run connection, which then will take it to the helix to get up onto the visible portion of the layout. To the left of our train you can see 2 additional staging tracks, which is where we keep the intermodal train and the auto train. As the Quebec and New England train vacates the staging track, the Westbound Conrail train can move in. Here you see both movements happening simultaneously. It's great to have a throttle that has 2 controllers built into it, so your other hand is free to hold the camera. Track 4 is the shortest staging track. It's roughly 35 cars long, so you can see here with the nose of the train at the very end, there's maybe room for another car ahead of the caboose. After making its way up the west helix, the southbound Q&NE train pokes its nose into daylight. This train will be held briefly at the west interlocking limits while the yard crews figure out how they want to arrive her and sort her cars. It's also a convenient place for us to take a break and set ourselves up for our next video. I hope you'll join us. But wait, there's more! Most of my reefer fleet are currently outside race cars, so these 2 smooth side cars are a nice change up from that. They are nicely detailed, and I especially like the Frisco unit because I don't have any other Frisco cars. And the BNFE re-stenciling screams 1980s. Not BNSF, BNFE. I have been waiting for these plastic pellet cars for probably 40 years now, since the 1970s. I used to see them quite a lot growing up. So I got these in the original blue Procore paint scheme, and one of them has the even older stenciling. And finally, I picked up this corn sweeteners car because I realized I don't have any corn sweeteners car, and it's a perfect fit for the cereals plant.